of the most important things in teaching social justice, whether it is a class in applied theater with adult students or sneaking it into work with kids in an after-school project. It's building a trust. And that comes not from me marching in and saying, you can trust me. It is about taking the time to build a culture of listening on both sides.
I try to really foster a discussion-based classroom rather than just a lecture, and I'm privileged in a way because I do have small classes where I can take advantage of that. And what I do is bring in stories of people in communities who are facing these environmental injustices.
I let students know upfront at the very beginning of the quarter that this is going to be a very uncomfortable experience, and especially for many of you who live in the privileged lives. However, in order to engage in that sort of discussion and conversation, we need to be able to hear other people's out. We need to be able to lower our guard and to say that I am wrong. I expect my students to be able to take responsibility. Whenever students say that, oh, that was my ancestor, it has nothing to do with me, I will have other students in the room that call out that action. So then in many things that we do and here in the classroom is supported by evidence, how do you derive at that conclusion?
Never do social justice work on communities, do social justice work with communities. And it's about getting out there and collaborating. And I think the other key part of that is going in with an attitude to serve, but also more importantly to learn and listen.
The funding is less than it ever has been. The need is greater than it ever has been. So the key with this community outreach is to be very clear that this is about the process. So they are learning not just about the organizations we partner with, but they're learning how to do this kind of work with the population. And there have been many different kinds of communities that we've worked with. Some have been very successful, some have not been. And the key is to pick yourself up and keep asking what is needed.
Many of my students, and especially among the students on this campus, where we're talking about 75% of them who are whites, to be able to spend that 20 minutes in class and get grilled, they like the experience. They think that it is really, really worthy to be able to feel part of the lives of how minority are feeling in this country. And I think that that is very rewarding to them to be able to engage in education, that they not only read the text, but they are able to emotionally engage in the lessons that they are learning.
We are social beings, and we get more value out of helping others, and as well as helping ourselves. And so being able to help my students get into positions where they're taking on the environmental challenges that have to be taken on, even as an undergraduate, is a reward for me as a teacher and a mentor. I do what I do because there are voices that are not being represented in the conversation, in the policy decisions, in the political processes. And so I'm committed in my research program in environmental justice to continue to do that.
So this idea of what it means to be human and part of a group, that's the basis of theater itself. And social justice issues, we're talking about what it means to be a citizen of the world in a productive, listening, life-changing way. So you have to be comfortable with discomfort, which is an oxymoron. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting and the most rewarding stuff that you'll do because you make meaning. That's the stuff that makes me cry, like right now, in a good way. But you actually change people's lives, including your own.
In order to live a meaningful life, in order to be able to, at the end of my life, to look back, what have I done? I'm able to say, I have done something for my own children. I've done something for people who look like me and for children who look like me. And that's the time that I stood up and said, regardless what kind of pain and what kind of obstacles that I'm going to face, I will just keep fighting. Now, as I told you, it is a pain to fight, and it's a long, arduous process. Is it worth fighting? I will probably not be able to see the end results by the end of my lifetime. But if it's for future generations, I think that there's this innate instinct among humans that we got to survive and we got to hope for the best. And this is why I'm here, and this is what I do.